Alright, welcome to our first ever third half pod. So, I'm Jake,
I'm Michael.
And I'm James.
and we'll be bringing you football content from all around the world, especially in the Prem. And
We'll also do European football, everything covering the Champions League and Europe's top 5 leagues, as well as
We'll also be playing mini games and we'll do quizzes and much more.
alright, so we're gonna go through game week 2 of the Prem. First off, we'll start with West Ham versus Chelsea. Michael, you watched the game. What do you think of it?
yeah. All right. So West Ham Chelsea, first game in the game week. It went like okay for Enzo Maresca's side. I think West Ham they performed like really poorly, especially like a really tough start of the season. A loss to Sunderland at the Stadium Light after back in the Prem for like I think 8-9 years. The final score I think was 5-1 to Chelsea at the London Stadium, so a good away win for Enzo Maresca in the side. Pedro Neto, João Pedro, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, and Chalobah with the goals. I think a really good highlight was João Pedro with his brilliant performance of, I think, a goal and 2 assists, bringing him like best in the league, yeah.
I'm a bit gutted. I didn't have him in my FPL. Jimmy, Michael, did you guys have him?
No, I took him out.
I actually had João Pedro for a really solid 15 points. I think a really good stat to say was West Ham and Chelsea both had the equal number of total shots of 12. However, West Ham's expected goals was 0.73. Chelsea almost tripling that with 2.74.
Chelsea's defense felt a little bit leaky without Cobble. Even like they only conceded 1 goal and they conceded like no XG. It still felt a bit shaky at times, and I felt they could have conceded some goals if West Ham were more clinical.
And they even scored 5 goals without their star boy, Cole Palmer. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like Cole Palmer, I think, he came off. Like, no, he didn't start.
He didn't start.
Yeah.
Well, groin injury, I think. Yeah. But anyway, like, I feel like the new boys, Esteval, Liam Delap, and João Pedro played really well. I think Maresca, did really well finding, an 11 where they fit Delap as a 9 and João Pedro just behind him. It worked really well, as evident by the scoreline. I think West Ham really need to work on either defensive form and their, defense from corners, because 2 of the goals, both Chalobah and Caicedo's goals, both came from corners. And that's just Hermansen making 2 stupid errors leading to the goals. Yeah.
They really got to fix their goalkeeping department. They don't really have too much backup. So that's a massive thing in this new transfer market window.
All right. So Wolves, West Ham face Wolves in the League Cup next game, and Forest away in the league for Chelsea. So let's move on to the next game. Probably the talking point of the weekend, Man City versus Spurs.
Yeah, so disappointing loss for Pep Guardiola. First home game of the season at the Etihad. New signings coming to City. Cherky, Reinders, everybody's a dominant display. Ends up losing to Tottenham 2-0 at their home ground. Brennan Johnson with us in the 35-minute with a goal and Paulinho just before halftime. And I feel like both of the goals were in the first half and that led to a confident victory for Thomas Frank, especially against City, a really strong squad, and travelling away. I feel like Thomas Frank did really, really well to set up his team. Yeah.
Spurs, yeah. The drought for City against Spurs carries on. For some reason, Spurs just always played extremely well against City, as we've seen over the years. And even with a new manager in Spurs, they've done it again. I thought Nico Gonzalez was quite poor in this game compared to the first game especially. He was cool on the counter from both goals. And yeah, Chelsea looked quick though. Spurs looked quick on the counter though.
Similar to West Ham, City had quite a few mistakes in goalkeeper. James Trafford looked shaky at the back and was fortunate not to be sent off by a handball outside the box when he ran into Mohamed Kudus.
Lucky, I thought that was a definite red card. Well, they didn't even check it and they didn't even talk about it on the commentary. Just interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it was called as a foul either.
Yeah, if this played it off, which is terrible from the refs, but whatever.
Yeah, so João Paulinho definitely is the man of the match with a score of 9.2, I think. And I feel like Richarlison plays really, really well on the Thomas Frank system, and he's definitely starting over Solanke at the moment. So City, they play Brighton at home, hopefully with a better result than this week, and Tottenham play Bournemouth at the Vitality. So yeah.
So the next game is Bournemouth versus Wolves.
Yeah, not going to lie, I think this one was a pretty boring one. I think a 4th-minute goal from Marcus Tavernier ended up winning the side for Andoni Iraola. and Tony Gomez with a red card just after halftime after denying Evan Nelson a goal scoring opportunity. So other than that, there wasn't much. Like both sides had pretty equal possession, pretty equal shots on target. But in the end, Bournemouth's defense came in vital. I know, very ironic considering that their backline from last season all have departed by transfers or loans. So yeah, Jake, what did you make of the game?
I thought Bournemouth were pretty impressive. Low key, Trent Larson was quite bad in this game, and being linked away from his club, I can see Wolves recovering from it if they sign a decent backup. And right now, their backup striker is probably Wang Chan. He was playing alright, and I feel like he should get a little more game time from the Pereira. But yeah, Jimmy, what do you think?
Something of note is the suspension of Totti Gomes. They're going to miss him after denying an Evan Nilsson of a goal scoring opportunity. There have been 4 consecutive red cards in Bournemouth versus Wolves match, which shows the tense rivalry between each other.
Yeah, so our Wolves need to turn things around against West Ham in the League Cup this morning, I think, and Everton in the league in the weekend. Bournemouth travel to joint top of the Premier League, Spurs, see if they can take on current informed Thomas Frank's side. The next game, I think, is Brentford versus Villa. Jimmy, take it away.
Well, so Brentford beat Villa 1-0 at the GTEC Community Stadium at home. Brentford holding the clean sheet was very impressive. But new signing Dango Utara scored an amazing goal after the deflection of Matty Cash in the 12th minute. What are your thoughts on the new debut?
Dango was impressive. Yeah, I love that player. I think he's a little right down the wing. And I think he'll be important for Brentford, especially if they want to stay up after losing Mbomo and stuff. I think it's probably the direct Mbomo replacement. But also Kevin Schade on the other wing was pretty good. Michael?
Yeah, so Villa had a dominant possession during the third quarter. However, they struggled to transform this possession into goals. 77% possession for Villa and 17 shots. Considering Ollie Watkins, Morgan Rogers, Daniel Marlin, the talent that Villa have in their attack, it seems surprising that they were unable to come back and beat Brentford for a side that we thought at the beginning of the season were going to do pretty poorly. Have found an excellent result against Villa, especially at the home ground.
I thought Rogers and McGinn on the wings didn't really work too much. Didn't work well, especially Rogers. I think everyone expected him this season to do really well, especially after winning PFA Player of the Year just like a few days ago. But he didn't really have any chances. He didn't have any great dribbles. He had 3 from 9 successful dribbles, which isn't too great. And also, I have no clue why they're playing John McGinn, why Emery's playing John McGinn on the right. He's definitely a natural 8, but he can't get down the wings like that. So they probably need a better right winger, or they need to start Daniel Marlin.
I just want to say congratulations to Keith Andrews for his first win with Brentford. I thought Igor Thiago, Brentford player, looked electric after his first goal against Nottingham Forest last week, coming back from significant injury to his meniscus last season.
Yeah, and I think, unsurprisingly, Johan Wissa was omitted from the squad after he removed all association with Brentford from his Instagram account. Wissa wants to join Newcastle as Isaac seems to be leaving as well, and we'll move on to that soon in the transfer talk.
A bit of work nonsense with Wissa and a lot of players removing their profile pictures, making it completely black. What do you guys thought on it? Because personally, I think it's ridiculous. I don't think players should be able to do that, but it seems like nowadays it's the only way for players to also move out of the club, especially if the club really depends on it.
Look, we never know what's going on behind the scenes, but I just think it's quite childish that they're acting so violent. Not violent, but rash.
Yeah, all right, we'll go back to the game. I think Villa remain winless and goalless, and a lack of goals, even though they had many opportunities, will prove alarming for Emery. And so Villa play Crystal Palace in the league next season, and Villa need a win, considering they are on 1 point after 2 games. Is pretty shocking for a side that was contesting for a Champions League spot last season and hopefully this season. And Brentford play Sunderland in the league as well, and a good chance for Otara and Thiago to get some goals for Brentford. Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to the next match. I think.
Sunderland. All right. So the 2 newly promoted teams, first game between promoted teams, and I thought Burnley were pretty impressive. Even though Sunderland starters, they were pretty well, but they couldn't do much about Burnley's dominated possessions because Burnley was surprising. Honestly, people were coming into the season saying they were terrible, but I thought especially Jaden Anthony, he was extremely important in this game, and I think he'll be important in the season because he's just an electric winger running down the wing. He just plays football. He's 25. He plays like he's 19. He's come from Leeds, and yeah, I think he'll continue what he's doing.
I think Josh Cullen this season will be very important to Burnley's chances at survival this season. He provided a great shift in the game against Sunderland, and I just think without him, Burnley wouldn't be as good as they are right now.
Yeah, so adding on to Jake's point, I think Jane Anthony played really well, and his like flair looks really important for Burnley this season, especially they want to survive in the Premier League for more than one season. And again, Scott Parker picks up his first points of the board for the opponent side.
I thought Sunderland. We were shocking. Sunderland were a bit shocking, and we expected them to do better after winning against West Ham in the first game week. But their attack seemed like they couldn't do anything. Adingra, Mayenda, Talby as the front three. They couldn't make too many dribbles.
Yeah, I almost feel like Sunderland was like a different team from last week, considering a 3-0 dominant victory over West Ham to this week, getting cooked by Burnley.
I just want to ask, do you think Foster's goal was a foul or not?
I don't know.
I don't think it was a foul. I think, it just didn't look like a foul to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, by game week 2, all three opponent teams have really picked up wins, which is pretty rare in the Prem, considering last season, Southampton, Leicester, and Ipswich were doing pretty horrendously at the start. And it sets up an exciting clash, especially for a relegation battle, as well as trying to fight the teams in mid-ladder for a spot. So, yeah, the next match we have is Arsenal-Leeds at the Emirates. Again, a 5-star display from Arsenal. They should be scoring, 4 or 5 goals, as they did against a prone Leeds side. Leeds were all right. They had, like, a good defense, but not like strong enough for an Arsenal squad. Timber's just come back. Saka's on form, although he did get injured just before halftime. Odegaard's playing well, also getting injured. So I feel like Arsenal, they have a lot of injury warnings, and I feel like they need to get their squad depth higher enough to to fight a spot for first place.
I thought Eze's presentation at the start was really beautiful. They don't all work out playing in the background, and obviously Spurs feel like they got fleeced by Eze, but it's his childhood club, so they can't really do anything about it if Arsenal come in and swoop for 60 mil. I thought the fullback for Arsenal were really good, and I thought Gyökeres was okay in this game. People are giving him a lot of praise, but he didn't have many touches, but he still scored 2, and he put away his chances. So that's what a striker should do, and Arsenal have been missing that number 9, and now they have him.
I reckon man of the match goes to Urian Timber, who, playing as an inverted fullback, scored 2 goals from corners. Leeds were struggling after a late winner after Everton, and I think Dan James was the only player to take shots for Leeds all within the first 25 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I just want to have a special mention to Max Dawson, I think, who becomes the second youngest player in the Premier League to ever appear at 15 years old. Second to Ethan Nwaneri. But Max Dawson, came on late, played really, really well, had really good possession, really good passes, actually earned a penalty for Arsenal in stoppage time, which Gyökeres put, behind keeper.
Yeah, I thought that he had a chance of taking it. Who was it? I think it was Rice who was holding the ball to shield them. Honestly, I thought they were going to give it to Dalman to take it, especially being 4-0 up and it being a last-minute penalty. No stakes involved. I feel like he really should have taken it. But I guess Gyökeres is going for golden boot. Every goal counts. So even scruffy pens.
Yeah, I think one more question for the boys. I feel like Gyökeres played Gyökeres much better performance, than from last week. He scored 2 goals. You look much better on the break. You look much better when turning and shooting and the ball out first time. I just want, personal question to both of you. How many goals do you think Gyökeres gets this season for Arsenal?
Look, I don't think he gets more than 20, but
20 is generous, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon he gets around 15 because I think the goals will be shared around the front line with Saka and Eze coming into the team. But what are your thoughts, Jake?
So before the season, I kind of predicted Gyökeres was going to be a flop. And honestly, these 2 goals would change much for me. It should have been 1, and he missed a really easy chance. But and I reckon he'll go on 10 all this season. Maybe he could reach 15, 20 if he's lucky. But I don't see him getting anywhere near 15.
Yeah, so we should see an exciting clash for Arsenal tomorrow as they, get ready for a trip to Liverpool away, top of the league as well. So that would be a good fixture. And these play Sheffield Wednesday in the League Cup on Wednesday before home to the Magpies on Sunday. Yeah, so our next game, I think, is Palace versus Forest.
I thought...
Yep.
Yeah, Jake, take it away.
All right, a 1-1 game. Bit boring, to be honest. But Palace were the better side in the first half. And Sarr had a good finish after Munoz did good work on the right-hand side. And I think Munoz was pretty impressive, as well as Mitchell. Their wing-backs seem impressive, and they seem like they'll do a lot. this season.
The Forest away end were chanting about Maranakis, showing their love for him to keep Morgan Gibbs White. So I think Morgan Gibbs White will play a pivotal role this season. So I don't think if they lose him, I don't think they'll do very well, especially not Champions League.
Yeah, so I think Glasgow's men must now prepare, for their second league, the Conference League away to Friday start, while Forest are home to West Ham in the Prem. And I feel like, especially, after an FA Cup win and a Community Shield win, both against Liverpool, I feel like, Oliver Glasgow has like a really good opportunity for a building Crystal Palace side, although it lost Eze, to build for the Champions League spots. So yeah.
Look, I just want to talk about Ismaila Sarr for a second. I feel like he's been magical in the midfield. He's been overlooked by players like Morgan Rogers or Florian Wirtz, but I feel like he's been producing numbers for a good consistent season. So yeah.
Yeah, he's been here for a long time. He's been here since the Watford days with Frank Bosman and stuff. And he was a bit of a young stuff, but now he's really developed in the league. And I reckon he could hit 10 goals this season. He's an electric winger to watch. But now we're moving to Everton versus Brighton. Do you have anything to say about that?
Well, look, Everton, surprising win 2-0. Their first game at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. I think Iliman Ndiaye was great, scoring in the 23rd minute. His first ever goal scored at the Hill Dickinson. It's also funny how he scored the last goal ever at Goodison Park.
Yeah, so James Garner also performed really well. Doubled, their lead soon after halftime, the 52nd minute. A brilliant strike from outside the box. I think it could contend for goal of the week. Welbeck, he got a penalty awarded and he missed the pen. Pickford guesses the right way, and funny enough, Pickford looks at his water bottle a minute before the penalty and guesses perfectly a Welbeck shot. To be honest, I think the penalty wasn't Welbeck's best one. It lacked power, it lacked precision. The accuracy was good, but Pickford just guessed the right way and he got there.
I think debutant Jack Grealish from Man City played really well. Man of the match performance with 2 assists. He shows how pivotal he will be in keeping the Toffees in the Prem.
I reckon Everton won't be anywhere down there, especially with Drew 3-4, NDI, Grealish. They have all these great players, but they need a proper number 9. Beto's not doing it. Neither is their new Tieno Barry. But what are your thoughts on Brighton?
I think Brighton, after a really strong finish from last season, they seem to drop off a bit. They come into third last with only 1 point in 2 games. And Carlos Baleba, I don't want to call out anybody for being, pretty bad, but Baleba, that definitely was his best game. Subbed after 45 minutes, 5 times possession lost, none out of 2 ground duels won, and 1 foul committed. So yeah, I think a much better performance from Carlos is needed next week.
I think the only bright spot for Brighton, I was quite impressed by Minte. I thought he was really good. 5 out of 5 successful dribbles. He made 4 chances. That was probably their only bright spot of the season, of this game. But still, he didn't get many shots off, and he doesn't have anyone to serve us to, like Matt O'Reilly in the midfield and Mitoma on the other wing. But yeah, he probably needs a better striker to serve us to. Welbeck's not cutting it right now, but yeah, we'll see.
Looking to the future, Everton play Wolves, which is a good opportunity for some points for Everton away. And Brighton play Arsenal, which is a tough game for Brighton. But I think Fabian Hurstler needs to get some results as soon as possible.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right.
Yeah, so I think we move to
Fulham United.
Yeah, all right.
I thought...
So a 1-1 game here. Same old United. I feel like they're same as last season, and it feels like all their old issues are coming back to haunt them again after all these new signings. Cunha looked decent. He hit the post in the first 3 minutes, but apart from the first 15 minutes, United couldn't do anything. They looked useless on the ball. They got a lucky own goal. Not lucky, but Yoro was solid. But still, I think the only bright spot for Bruno, or for Man United, was Lenny Yoro. It was really good. He had the last man tackle. He didn't put a foot wrong. But that Bruno pen was probably the talking point of the game. So what were your thoughts on it, Jimmy?
Well, I assume you guys have all seen the clip of the ref nudging Bruno. I don't think it's a valid excuse for missing a penalty like that. But, I mean, the ref should have been a bit more considerate, I think.
No, I disagree. I reckon it was all Bruno. He was terrible with that pen. And I reckon they're taking him off pen soon, even though he's Fernandez. He's missed so many in the pen since he's came in. I think that's his start where he's missed the most. But Bruno was not good in the game. And also, I think Man United, their double pivot is not working. And I think they need 3 in the midfield, especially with Bruno and Mason Mount on the field at the same time. That's 2 number 10s. They really need a number 8 box to box to balance their midfield. What are your thoughts?
So if you take Bruno off pens, who do you think will take over from him? Will it be one of the new signings or one of the old players?
I reckon probably Cunha is going to get on pens. Wait, was he on pens at Wolves? I'm not sure.
Cunha was the
I believe
penalty
so.
man, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it can be Cunha, and it also can be a Bomo. But I think United really need to sign a number 8.
Yeah. So I've similar to Jake. I feel like if Bruno does get his penalty penalty taking rights stripped away from him, it should be one of their new signings, either Cunha, Mbeumo, or even Benjamin Sesko, who everybody was hyping up in preseason. So yeah.
I thought.
So we're also going to talk a little bit about Fulham. I thought Fulham were okay in this game. I thought Tete at right back. Iwobi was electrifying on the wing, and he was great. But they still need someone to create like chances. But Castagne at right wing is quite interesting. I feel like he's not a natural right wing. Obviously, he's a right back. So honestly, they should probably play Traore there when he's fit. He's fit right now. Wait, actually, I have no clue why Marco Silva didn't bring him on. He was just on the bench the whole time. But yeah.
Yeah, do we know who Fulham's next games are against?
I think Fulham's playing Bristol City in the League Cup, the second round on Thursday. But then they actually verse Chelsea in the league, which will be an interesting game because Chelsea have looked really great. So I feel like it might be a worry for Fulham if they don't improve their form.
Yeah, 16th place Manchester United will play Grimsby Town, a League 2 team, in the League Cup before, a trip to home to Burnley on Sunday. So if United don't get the win there, I don't know where they can find wins from this season. So yeah.
I was better play Kobe Manu. And this is shout to Aaron. I'm calling you out. You have to play Manu. He was carrying your team for like last season. And now you play Casemiro over here, who's useless. Man United literally playing with 10 men. When Casemiro's standing there, he's like a brick. But let's move on to the next game. Jimmy?
The final game of the game week, it was definitely not the least exciting. 3-2 to Liverpool at St James's Park. What a game.
I thought.
Szoboszlai started at right back and played surprisingly well because Frimpong and Bradley were both injured, although he did commit a few unnecessary fouls.
Yeah, I think Newcastle's home ground, St James's Park, had a really hot atmosphere in the start of the match. And, they were definitely ready after like a thrilling 3-3 draw last season at St James's Park. Newcastle were ready, even without the absence of Isak. They were ready, to take on Liverpool. I think Gravenberch's surprise goal, like in the middle of the first half, against the run of play, off the deflection at the left post. He could have received a red card for his tackle, but was only given a yellow card. There was, however, a red card from...
I think Anthony Gordon. A lot of people brought him in FPL, and he was playing okay, but that red card was really stupid from him. His tackle on Van Dijk, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, bro. It was a standing leg.
I don't know what he was thinking. Like, he just jumped in with both his feet and took him out. But I reckon Canale could also be considered lucky not to get a second yellow. But it wasn't even called as a foul.
I thought.
Simon Hopper, the referee, was also very involved in the game, giving lots of fouls throughout the match.
I think one of the talking points for Liverpool is that I think it was honestly terrible. But their big money signing was like, he's just been ghosting these first 2 weeks. But let's talk about Gakpo's goal, Michael.
So Gakpo.
I thought.
Gakpo did not score, bro.
Yeah, I thought it was their new signing, Hugo Ekitike. Yeah. 45 seconds after halftime, by the way. Anyhow, it goes in, tells the Newcastle boys, to fire up. They can come back from 1-0. 45 seconds in, Ekitike scores over Gakpo assist. I feel like Ekitike is really showing, signs of Fabinho and Mane in their days, how they're really, really clinical in front of goal, and his striking instincts are something Liverpool really definitely needs to hold on to the title of the season. It was only shot in the game, and it was a goal, and a goal's a goal. So yeah.
I just want to say Bruno Guimaraes' goal brought them back into the game. I thought Kirkes could have been a little better with defending. He looked away from the ball and let him jump over his head. So it just needs to get a bit better from Kirkes. It's been very shaky in the last 2 games. So definitely something to improve during training.
All right, so Newcastle scored in the 88th minute off their super sub or Silva, but it ended up not mattering at the end. Where Rio's goal, obviously from Liverpool.
Yeah, I was just saying how we not address the elephant in the room. Rio Ungamoa, 16 years of age, comes on in the 96th minute and scores a winner for Liverpool away. Szoboszlai with a great leave and Ungamoa with a very, very clean finish into the top bins. If that was Darwin Núñez, that would have been sent into row AA.
Yeah, for sure. And the Joel Linton versus Gravenberch duel was very prominent throughout the game. It was very fiery. They were always going at each other. And I thought it was just very interesting to watch.
Rio's been getting massive comparisons, saying he's the next Lamine and stuff. But what do you guys think? How far can Rio go? And before you answer, Jimmy, I should have said he's a Liverpool supporter. He's a massive fan of Rio, and he's been glazing him from day one. So what are your thoughts?
Look, as a Liverpool fan, I've been itching to see him play in the Prem. We brought him in last season, and ever since he's come on, he's just been showing brilliant sparks, as much as he can. So I just think he's got a good attacking momentum, and he's just very skillful.
Yeah, I also believe Rio Ungamoa will do really, really well, and I'm really excited to see what he became able to do in the Prem. So yeah, Liverpool play Arsenal in the league next season again, as I said before, a really, really big game. And Newcastle face Leeds. Newcastle should be able to get a result from that game. But yeah, after good performances from Leeds, not this week, last week, it should be a tough game as well. So yeah,
boys, let's take a break. We'll be back in a bit.
Now we're back, and we would like to talk about the recent transfers.
I think the main one in the past few days is Donnarumma to Man City for 50 mil.
Yeah, Donnarumma will switch. What about it? But massive goalie. He's one of the best in the world, but he's just like PSG should do better to keep him. But if he really wants to leave, City, honestly, it's a tricky transfer. City already have two really good keepers, but after Chuckles gets mistakes, I see why they want a new keeper. But someone like United really is Donnarumma in City's trouble.
No, but I feel like Edison has been linked for Galatasaray.
He's probably leaving.
So, I think the reason Donnarumma, he had disputes with PSG, but that's not the main point. The point is, I think if Edison does go, Trafford, if he wants to be a number one, which he probably will be, until Donnarumma arrives.
I think Donnarumma would fill Edison's place straight away.
You think as the number one? Yeah, probably after 50 mil. Yeah,
because Trafford looks way too shaky.
Yeah, and he does need more experience in the Premier League. I think after playing really well for Burnley last season, I feel like it's a huge step, and especially if Edison leaves, I think it'll be a really healthy competition for Donnarumma to arrive because he can help Trafford become a better goalkeeper as well as improve himself. So,
yeah, but what is PSG going to do without Donnarumma? They don't have very able deputies.
Oh no, they sent didn't they sign that new keeper?
Like Chevalier?
Really?
Yeah.
Was it like Chevalier?
Yeah, sorry.
Fun fact: knight in French.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Now we're going to talk about the next transfer that's been rumors that's been happening. Incapi has been set to leave by Leverkusen. Massive centre back. He's a beautiful player on the ball. What do you guys think of that?
Look, he's one of the biggest centre back prospects going throughout the transfer window right now. Look, I think if Tottenham get him, it'll be great for Tottenham, but I think he should go to Arsenal.
Really? I reckon Arsenal's got enough depth, and I think he's good enough to be a starter in the Pro right now. Because obviously, Arsenal have got Gabriel and Saliba, one of the best backlines in the league, probably in the world right now. But yeah, I reckon he'd be fit better at Spurs.
I just feel like Spurs aren't a big enough team to fit Hincapié.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's too big for Spurs.
That's Glaze. That's Glaze.
What do you mean it's Glaze?
No. I feel like where does Hincapié go then? Which club does he go to? If Arsenal want him, and you think Tottenham's too big for him, what club does he go to?
Spurs is a perfect fit for it. Come on.
Maybe you've convinced me.
David Ornstein. That's from David Ornstein. But the next one is Rodrigo is set to stay at Real Madrid based on Fabrizio Romano's reports. And obviously, I'm a massive Real Madrid supporter, but I'm very happy with him staying. Even though we've signed Franco on the right and we have Raheem, I think Rodrigo is important for Real Madrid, and he really needs to stay. And we saw that in the last game. Well, I heard Xabi Alonso said something about him liking him, and he's one of us. So I'm happy with him staying. And I'm happy that he's going to be an important role here in Madrid, especially in the Champions League.
As a Liverpool supporter, I'm gutted because I think Liverpool need a bit more attacking depth right now.
Not Chiesa.
Not Chiesa. Well, Chiesa's good and all, but like we've sold Darwin, we've sold Diaz, and the tragedy of Diogo is very unfortunate. But we've lost 3 players and we've brought in Ekatike, and that's it.
I thought
Oh yeah. I think our next transfer we're talking about is Eze to Arsenal. Confirmed. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's confirmed. Of course. So he's 60 mil to Arsenal. Everyone thought he was going to go to Spurs, but now he's confirmed that Arsenal is one of the important stuff, and Arsenal completed that for free for him. But I think Spurs are quite good by this transfer, and they want to sign Savinho. But I don't think Savinho's even going. So now they're targeting Morgan Rogers. But Spurs are just trying to get any winger they can get their hands on. But none of them want to go to Spurs right now.
Is it because like the absence of Son, right? Son left. That's why they need a new winger. Yeah.
Brennan's pretty good on the right, and I like Kudus, but they need more depth, especially in the Champions League this season.
I feel like Spurs also need a striker because Richarlison, he's not the greatest player. He's very patchy. He's not consistent, and Solanke he's a top striker, but he gets injured a bit too much.
Oh, well, I think there was leaks about Richarlison leaving and them signing a new striker. I forgot who. I think it might have been Stuart Lawson. I'm not sure, but I reckon they're not selling him after Richarlison's performance in the first 2 game weeks, especially with him starting right now. And Jimmy, you said it was patchy, but he has a World Cup season. He's known for playing really well in World Cup years. So
Yeah.
him and Solanke can rotate well.
Yeah, I just want to touch on something. You said you think Strand Larson will be the replacement for Richarlison if he does go.
Yeah.
Surely, if Strand Larson goes, and in the absence of Cunha, who's gone to Man United, Wolves go down? Do Wolves go down?
Yeah, I reckon they go down. They've lost Cunha, they've lost Strand Larson, so they've got very little.
They haven't lost him yet, but he might.
Hypothetically, if they lose Strand Larson, I don't think they've got enough attacking potential to bang in goals in the Premier League consistently.
Well, their new signing, John Arias, he had high promises with him in pre-season, but he hasn't been that great. And yeah, you're right. Looking at scrolling through Wolves' lineup right now, they only have like one new Chan who's a bit washed, and they don't really have any attackers up there to score goals and just like finish with it. But Michael, there's a new deal with Tyler Dibley. What is that?
I think so. Tyler Dibley's just gone to Everton for £40 million from a Southampton team, which just got relegated last season. I feel like, yeah, Southampton, second lowest points tally in Premier League history last season. Tyler Dibley was one of their standout players and a really standout youngster in the Premier League, or now in the Premier League. So, yeah, I think it's a good deal for Everton to add squad depth. They've got Ndiaye, they've got Beto, they've got Alcaraz, they've got Grealish. But I feel like, Dibbling will add a lot of, youth and creativity in that midfield, especially in that attack. Jim, thoughts?
Look, Dibbling was brilliant last season. One of the best youngsters in the Prem. I think Everton, they needed another winger for squad depth, which probably makes them not relegation battle like contenders. I reckon they'll be close to mid-ladder around 14 and like 13, maybe.
I think Everton are doing well with Grealish and NPI, so I don't even know if Dibley starts. Honestly, I think Dibley won't start. How old is he? 17, 18? Yeah, I think he's going to be like a super sub for Toffees. But moving on, Bournemouth are talking to Chelsea about the Sassy, and this is an interesting one. Chelsea lost Colwell, and now they're like thinking of selling another centre back. So I don't know what they're thinking.
I feel like Chelsea centre backs who we saw last game. I think is. Do we know who it was?
Give me a quick second.
Well, I haven't watched much of the Sassy, but he sounds like a promising player.
Oh yeah, right. I think Tosin and Chalobah. Chalobah got loaned to Crystal Palace. At the first half of last season, he played well. He got experience from Oliver Glasner. Brought that back to Enzo Maresca's side, and I feel like Levi Colwell with an injury, which is like a pretty big blow for the Chelsea squad. But still, they're holding up really well. So I don't hate the Sassy shout to go to Bournemouth, and I feel like he'll get experience there as well and get more minutes.
Honestly, yeah, they have Fofana on the bench as well. He can feel it, but that Colwell ACL injury this season was just terrible for Chelsea. I think he's going to be one of the best centre backs in the Champions League. He's been so promising, especially last season. But they also have Banashile to come in after his injury. Sorry if I'm looking at that. But Jimmy, anything to say?
I just think for Bournemouth, I think the Sassy fills a very important hole with the loss of Kirkes and Huijsen. I think that it's necessary that they sign one or two more centre backs.
Yeah, I think so. There's another tweet by Fabrizio Romano about, like just an hour ago of filming this, that Napoli are confident to get Rasmus Højlund from Man United. Any thoughts, Jake?
I think what an athlete to be honest. 40 loan with buy-on clause to become mandatory is close to 45 million, and the contract is going to go to 2030 for Rasmus. So that's 5 years. If my math is right. But Hoyland, yeah, obviously he's not going to fit at Man United, especially when they new signings. So I understand that he wants to leave, but is Napoli really a good fit for him? That's my question.
Just I want to touch on one thing. A question to Jim here. Do you think Højlund going to Napoli will cause any problems to Man United, or are they set without him as well?
Look, I think their attacking depth is it's pretty solid. They've got Amad Diallo. They've got their new signings, obviously, Mbomo, Cunha, Sesko. So I think they're pretty solid. But Højlund to Napoli, I actually don't mind it because you've seen what's happened with Scott McTominay. You've seen how well he's performed. So I think it's necessary. Well, it's not necessary, but it might be a good move.
And also, I want to add, Napoli have a bunch of great attackers. Obviously, Scott McTominay has been playing at left wing recently, and he's been so good for Napoli. Obviously, he played of the season last year, and they've signed KDB. Even though he's 35, 34 now, he's still one of the best attacking mids in the world, and he's still doing wonders at Napoli. So if you have someone who can actually sign us to, I don't know if that made it spoiled, but yeah, they could do stuff, that Napoli team.
Yeah, I think Højlund going to Napoli, takes even more players joining from the Premier League. They got Kevin De Bruyne. Napoli got Kevin De Bruyne. So, especially what Jake said about Scott McTominay, him being a really good forward and, having, I don't want to say the best career, not the best career at Man United. Now he's one of the star players for Napoli. So, yeah, Højlund, might have a ton of things when he moves, if he does.
All right, and also a shock transfer, exclusive from Fabrizio. He was just a bit late, was an excuse. But Lucas Vazquez going to Bayern Leverkusen, former Real Madrid right back, has joined Bayern as a free agent after leaving. He's 33, 34, but he can still do stuff for Leverkusen. And I think he'll do. Maybe he won't start, but he'll still be a great player for them. So, what are your guys' thoughts?
Look, I don't know much about him, but I feel like right back for Bayer Leverkusen, it's a necessary void to fill because of the loss of Frimpong. Lately, I don't think Arthur has been playing that well, so I think it's necessary that they get a replacement for him. What are your thoughts?
I feel like
I think it's Arthur, actually, mate.
Yeah.
Arthur or Arthur?
I'm not sure, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, so I feel like, I think, Flecken from Brentford has gone to Bayer Leverkusen as well. And Liverpool have been taking about everything they can from Bayer Leverkusen. Arne Slot really likes, the signing of Wirtz and Frimpong, two really big signings to Liverpool in the hope of the title defence.
Hey, to be fair, Liverpool did give Conte to them, and he's been pretty important for Bayer soon. Recently, against Hoffenheim, even though they lost, he still scored a goal. He was solid in that game.
Yeah, so I feel like Lucas Vazquez, brings, not just depth, he brings a lot of experience from, one of the best clubs in the world. And I feel like he will bring, a lot for this Bayer Leverkusen squad.
Yeah, all right. I think that's all the transfers we've got. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with you guys.
All right, moving on to our next segment will be a sort of mini-game format. It will be, a debate about Arsenal and Liverpool's best combined 11. So we have chosen what we think is the best possible 11 for both Arsenal and Liverpool. And Jim and Jake will be debating about who they choose in their 11. So, yeah, starting off with the goalkeeper, David Raya or Alisson?
It's obviously Alisson. He's the best keeper in the world. Let's face it.
He's not the best goalkeeper in the world. Right now, of course, he was playing pretty well.
That's because you're a Real Madrid fan.
No, but you're choosing Alisson because you're a Liverpool fan. Ryan's not been that bad. He's been under a bit of scrutiny, but he's been alright so far this season. And he's always pulling off one save. So I think it's closer than you think. But yeah, we'll edge it to Alisson.
We'll give it to Alisson. All right, Alisson starts as our keeper. All right, at right back, Yurian Timber or new signing for Liverpool, Jeremy Frimpong.
Timber?
Yeah.
I reckon that's a little bit of recency bias due to that brace on the weekend. I reckon Frimpong takes the cake though. It's just
playing alright, but he's injured now, obviously, and he's better than Timber did it a little bit last year, and he's looking better than ever. I reckon he's probably one of the best right backs in the world, and I think he's better than Timber right now.
Look, in the Community Shield, he scored a screamer of a goal, whether it was on purpose or not. He's just really pacey. He can cover the attacking wings and the defensive wings. I just think he's a very able deputy to Trent.
Yeah, but do you see how leaky Liverpool's attack are? Especially with two attacking fullbacks in Kirkes and Brimble as well. Give it to Kirkes. But Brimble leaving gaps just like Trent did. You said he's his successor, but he's playing the exact same way. And he's leaving a gap in the Liverpool right.
Well, I have a feeling that Frimpong's pace will be able to help him in tracking back faster. And I also think, well, moving on to this later, but the defensive pairing is like really good between Canale and Virgil van Dijk. So I reckon they don't need as much cover. So
Liverpool's conceded what, like 5 goals in the first 2 games? 4 goals. Wait, what was the score for Liverpool?
it's 4 goals, 4 goals.
Yeah, okay. But like you can see Liverpool has scored goals, but they concede goals as well. So I don't know how they'll do, but sure, we can give it to Liverpool.
Give it to Frimpong. So 2-0 according to Liverpool.
Oh,
All right, moving on to our first centre back. This will be interesting. Virgil van Dijk or Gabriel?
This is closer than you think, but I still think it goes to Van Dijk. He's been proven for like 2 seasons. He did have a little bit of a bad season, but that was because of an injury. But before that, he's been consistent.
Any of you who watched their first game against Bournemouth, you saw Van Dijk was trying to defend it with aura against the menu. He was just standing there like an idiot. And I think he's been fully on recently. I'd give it to Gabriel recently. Because Van Dijk, although he's probably one of the best centre-backs in the Prem. And in history, he's probably one of the best. But right now, on form, he's definitely going nowhere up there.
No, I disagree with you about the defending against Semenyo. I don't think there's much he could do. I think it was more of Canade's fault, actually. The fact that they were giving him space and Canade was shifting over to the left a little bit. Although I do feel like he could have stepped forward a bit earlier to the ball because he was always backpedaling.
I'm still sticking with Gabriel, but
Okay, if it's based on current form, I'll happily concede to. Not happily. I'll grudgingly concede, if that's a word, to Gabriel.
All right, Gabriel takes spot. The next one, surely there's no arguments here. Saliba versus Kanate. We just mentioned Kanate a few minutes ago.
What do you want to say?
Look,
You're
Canade.
going to try to argue this. All right, go on.
I don't think Canade is better than Saliba.
Okay.
The 2 French partners, but I do feel like Canade could be a better player in the future.
Yeah, and on that note, we'll give it to Saliba.
No.
Yeah.
Hear me out. So I feel like Canade right now has been very he's not been focused during the games. There's been lots of speculation about his future and his contract, but I just think he's got potential. But I think we can give it to Saliba on this one.
Saliba's still got years to get though. So I don't think we should waste any more time on this one. Let's move on to the next one.
All right, so at left back, Miles Lewis-Skelly versus another new signing from Bournemouth, Kirkes.
All right. I'll go first. I think honestly, Kirkes is overrated. Overrated as hell. Because he's a foul merchant and he doesn't really defend that well, especially compared to Prime Robertson. And I think even though Lewis-Skelly can be rash at times, I don't even think he's Arsenal's best left back. I reckon it's Calafiori, but I think either of them beat Kirkes out.
Does Ben White deserve a mention or no?
Wait, okay, so is Ben White naturally a left back or
Ben White can play left back. Yeah.
I think he can play both, yeah,
what, left back and centre back?
and right back.
And right back.
He can play anywhere in the back line, I think.
Yeah, Mr. Versatile, this one.
Yeah, but like especially on the left, I think he might be as good as Kirkes. But I haven't watched too much of Kirkes, especially at Bournemouth. But I don't know. I reckon Lewis-Skelly right now is a bit overrated. So we can still give it to Kirkes for now.
I feel like Kirkes is a little bit more proven than Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Yeah.
He's quite young and inexperienced compared to Kirkes, although Kirkes can be quite rash at times, as you said. But I feel like Kirkes deserves a spot in this team.
All right, let's give it to Kirkes.
So we're giving it to Kirkes. All right, into the 6, the CDM. We're going Zubimendi versus probably one of Liverpool's best players of last season, Ryan Gravenberch.
Look, this is interesting because Liverpool were out to get Zubimendi last season. So if Liverpool got Zubimendi, I don't think Gravenberch would have gotten any play time or as much play time as he did last year. So I reckon they're both really good players, but I think Gravenberch has to take it, as he was like,
How many games did Gravenberch play? He played like nearly 50, right? Wait, Jim, how many games did he play?
he played 49.
Well, yeah. So he's basically playing every single game, Champions League, Prem, Cup, like anything. He's playing every game. So, yeah, I do think Gravenberch is better than Zubimendi. Zubimendi, not as proven. Came from what, Sociedad?
Yeah, Sociedad.
Yeah. But we'll see. He's been decent for Arsenal.
Although I just want to say, Zubimendi in preseason and like recently, he's been fantastic. If you've watched the matches, he's been dominating the midfield. He's been allowing Rice to move forwards and play more attacking. If you've noticed,
I think that's the main thing. They need Arsenal really need Rice in the 8 or even a 10 position now. That Odegaard's injured, and Zubimendi allows him to do that, and he also supports the defense. But yeah, I reckon it's gonna be much for now.
So we're giving it to Gravenberch. All right. So next battle I think should be Declan Rice versus Alexis McAllister. Thoughts?
this is a really tough one.
No, it's not.
This is
It's Rice. It's Rice.
No, I reckon McAllister in this current market would go for more than 100 million, which is similar to what Rice.
And Rice would go for 150.
That's debatable though. McAllister, you saw the match today, didn't you?
I saw a little bit, yeah.
Like Liverpool's midfield with Curtis Jones looked shocking. It was disjointed, and like when McAllister and Gravenberch are in the team, but mostly McAllister, he just links up the play, and he plays more of a crucial role to Liverpool's build-up play and defensive play.
Mate, you can't argue that McAllister's better than Rice right now. McAllister is 26. He will not go for anywhere near 100 mil. Maybe like 70 mil.
No, I reckon it's 100 plus in today's market.
That's debatable. But still, Rice is a better player overall. Rice was at West Ham, number 6. He was like independent of it. The whole team was focused around him when he was like 20. Wait, was he captain at West Ham a little bit?
I think so.
I think he was, yeah. That just shows how good he is and his experience from even a young age.
I just want to say, not that the Ballon d'Or is a trustworthy like grading system of players, but McAllister was nominated for the Ballon d'Or this season.
Was Rice?
I don't.
Wait,
he might have been. But even though I do feel like we have to give this to Rice.
Yeah, Rice has been nominated as well.
Yeah, all right, you can't use that argument against me. Rice has been so good. 52 games, 9 goals, 10 assists last season. I know football isn't all about goals and assists, but he's been attacking and he's a defensive threat to teams as well. He supports that backline really well. He's such a balanced, such a beautiful player. All right, so we're going with Rice.
We're going with Rice. All right.
Rice.
All right. So Odegaard versus main man Florian Wirtz.
It's close to anything.
Look, Wirtz, he hasn't been great
He's been terrible.
these few games.
Terrible in the first 2 games.
I wouldn't go as far as saying terrible,
He's
but
been stinking up the pitch. Liverpool playing with 10 men.
he needs to work on his first touch especially. But I feel like Odegaard's getting older. He's not really improving. He's sort of on a steady decline, I think. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, it's 2 terrible players. It's Bonds against Bonds.
You cannot say Odegaard and Wirtz is Bonds against Bonds.
Okay, Odegaard has been hating on recently a lot, and I think he's a little bit overhated, but he's still been nowhere near he was since like 2 seasons ago. We'll see how Wirtz does. It was obviously insane at Leverkusen. He was part of their success of winning the Bundesliga over Bayern, but we haven't seen the best from him yet. I reckon he'll still be good for Liverpool, but I don't know if he'll reach the heights of Odegaard in this run.
Look, again, he was nominated for Ballon d'Or. Sorry if I keep pulling this up again. But also, he was, I think he was Bundesliga Player of the Year in 2024, which is very significant.
Yeah.
So have we settled on an agreement? Who are we going for?
Even though they've both been bad, I think Wirtz takes it. Yeah.
Wirtz takes it. All right. So this next battle has been really like chosen pretty well. They're both number 9s. Gyökeres versus Ekitike. Both new signings as well. For 2 top clubs.
The Gyok is terrible. He scored 2 goals.
all right, buddy.
Gyökeres is slow. He's fat. He's useless. He scored 2 goals, and he will get the goals. And people will say in the future they'll look back and say, oh, he scored 15 goals in the Prem. Yeah, okay, what a season. But he's not that good for Arsenal. If you watch the games, he's not getting that many touches on the ball. He's not supporting the wingers too well. Well, what do you think?
I do feel like you're being a bit too harsh, but I do agree with most of your points. Ekitike, since joining the Prem, he's just hit the ground running, scoring 2 times in 2 games. 2 brilliant goals, by the way. Pretty much like his only 2 shots he's taken.
Got to get him in for the FPL. He's been great because so far.
Yeah, I need to grab it.
Yeah, I think it's Akasika here. Jokeris, yeah, he'll start playing against Sporting, against Portuguese farmers.
Yeah.
But he'll still get the goals. But Akasika, like, he's an all-round player. I reckon he's much better than Darwin when he came first.
Yeah, and like they both came in with pretty similar transfer fees. Was it around 90 million for both?
Yeah, I think so.
So I reckon this will be a really interesting comparison as the season goes on. But yeah.
We go with
We'll go with
Ekitike.
Ekitike. All right, this next pick I've chosen, very tactically, just for our last pick to be, really, really close. Either new signing Eze or Cody Gakpo.
This is really
This is
really
close because Gakpo has been like
unbelievable. Yeah.
he's gone under the radar throughout like the last season and especially the start of this season.
Yeah, he's been great so far. I think he's been one of Liverpool's main men. I think he'll be really important if Liverpool want to win the league. But Eze just coming in, he was obviously unbelievable for Palace, but we haven't seen him in this Arsenal team yet, so I don't know how he will do. But honestly, I'm kind of torn up between those two.
I think
I
yeah,
thought-
Eze is great. He played great for Crystal Palace and I think he'll be even better for Arsenal because he'll have more balls and more people feeding him. More people to feed him
Yeah.
through balls and stuff. So I think we'll get more opportunities in front of goal.
I'm gonna go with Eze, but wait up to
I think going Eze right now is a bit too soon since he hasn't played a match yet. And I think Gakpo has been proving himself for like the last season.
yeah, that's true.
I reckon the deciding factor goes to Michael for this one.
Yeah, go
All right, so like Jim said, Eze was one of the star man for Crystal Palace. Alongside Ismail Assar and Jean-Philippe Mateta. And I think Eze, he'll work really, really well on this Arsenal team. They brought him in, not because of his skill, or not just because of his skill, also
What are you
because
saying?
squad
Eze
depth.
doesn't have skill.
No, Eze does have skill. As in, Arsenal needs squad depth because they got Madueke from Chelsea as well, so he can play there. But I just feel like if we reassess this, this same, matchup, Eze versus Gakpo, at the midpoint of the season, there'll be a much, different and much more distinct story that we can tell from.
Yeah.
Just for now, just because at the current club they're playing at, they've got record, they've got history. I'm going to go with Gakpo.
Wait, I just want to say quickly, Eze for what, 60 mil? 65 mil?
That's not bad.
Yeah, compared to Madueke for 50, Eze's probably twice the player as Madueke is. And that's not even a crazy thing.
Yeah, as a Liverpool fan, I would take Eze any day of the week.
Over Gakpo though.
No chance.
Alright, for now, I think it's Gakpo. Yeah.
So we're saying
Yeah,
Gakpo.
Yeah.
All right, and the last one, this will be a pretty interesting one. Bukayo Saka versus player of the season, Mohamed Salah.
I thought
Well, I don't think this is as close as people would make it because, look, they're both world class, but Salah is just on another level. He's Ballon d'Or level, where I don't think Saka has been hitting those, he hasn't really been hitting those heights that people expected him to be.
I hear what you say, but honestly, Salah hasn't been too good in the first 2 games of the Prem so far. He's gotten the goal contributions and stuff, but still. Having a look at the stats right now, Saka's 10 years younger, and he's still doing the crazy things he is. While Salah's 33, probably in his last couple seasons. But, yeah, I don't know.
If we look at the personal accolades, though, Saka, he's won virtually nothing with Arsenal.
FA Cup and Community Shield, that's it.
Yeah,
No,
brilliant.
but come on.
Yeah, brilliant.
Come on. Saka's been playing for, 4 years, and Salah's been in the Prem for, he joined in 2016, 17.
But
It's been
I
8
feel
years.
like since we're basing this on current, I think Salah has to be there's no debate between Salah and Saka. Salah is definitely the better player.
Jake, I just want to pose a question really quick. Would you rather take Champions League or Community Shield?
I'd rather take a Community Shield.
What?
All right.
No,
All right.
no.
Well, that sums
Yeah,
up. Salah
rubbish.
makes the 11.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
This is why we don't say he's got more knowledge.
Alright, so we'll chuck up a graphic right now. Or I'll combine the 11.
Yeah.
But Michael, do you want to run us through it?
All right. So we've chosen Allison, and Frimpong. We've chosen
Yeah,
Frimpong.
Frimpong.
Yeah. We've got both centre backs are Saliba and Gabriel. We've taken both of them.
Wait.
What? No.
wait.
Virgil van Dijk, bro.
We Gabriel.
Yeah, no, it was Van Dijk, I think.
Van
Was it Van
Dijk and
Dijk?
Saliba.
Yeah.
You guys have a long argument of that. All right. So we're taking Van Dijk. Gabriel gets on the centre back.
Kirkes.
Kirkes gets the left back. We went.
Gravenberg.
We went Gravenberg. Yeah. We gave
Rice.
Rice the 8, and then we gave.
Wirtz. Yeah, Wirtz.
We ended up giving Verts over Odegaard. Yeah. Gakpo got it because of
I
current
think
form.
the full Liverpool top front three made it into the team.
Yeah, Liverpool kind of dominated it.
Liverpool dominated this for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. I think only 3 players made it into the team, or 2. Was it 2?
Only 2, I think. It was
Only
Gabriel and
2.
Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Right now we're arguing about it. But you see a graphic on screen.
Yeah.
We're like doing this. Oh, wait, maybe you won't because this is a Spotify podcast. I don't think this is going on YouTube, is it? Boys?
It might.
Might.
We'll see.
You'll see the graph if you see it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make it clearer if it is a video. But
On
Thank
to
you
next
for
segment,
listening.
I think. Yeah, we're done with this one.
yeah, we're done with this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode of the Prem Wrap. I hope to see you next time. Anything to share, Michael?
I don't know. I just feel like we've done a pretty concise review of the game week, as well as some transfer talk.
I wouldn't
And-
call it concise. It's 1 hour long.
No, well, compared to the length of the games, I think we've done pretty well here. An Arsenal Liverpool combined 11 for a pretty good clash next week. So yeah,
I just want to say, please support the pod. Please subscribe, like, help.
Please share.
Yeah, we're starting a pod. This takes a long time. We're just a bunch of kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
just
Just
just trying to-
support us, boys. But yeah, this isn't easy. Please support us, and I think that's all.
anything is
Guys have
appreciated.
anything to add?
No,
no,
I think that's it. Yeah.
Just welcome to the third half.
Up
All right.
Welcome to the third half.
Up the third half, boys.
Up the
Up the
third
third
half.
half.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see you in the next one.